And so, obviously, I think I read somewhere about like, is Piccolo black? It's like,
I
the way he acts.
I love that about every cartoon. We're like, all right, now who's the black guy? Is it Panther or Panther? Okay, Panther's the black guy. Jazz from Transformers.
Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome once again to Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives. I'm your host, Theo, and on the line I have the man himself, Mr. Benja. What's up?
What's up, man? We're plowing through this year. Black History Month, Valentine's Day, and everything.
You got it right, man. This is definitely February. Can you believe it's already February already? It seems like it was just December. So we went through January like a cool glass of water really quickly. So with that being said, I think today, like you mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about Black History Month and some of what the streaming service have to offer, especially around black movies that hit genre films. Also, Valentine's Day. I mean, I know, our next podcast will be, around Valentine's Day, but maybe we'll talk a couple of movies there in preparation for that. Today, the day that we're recording this is Super Bowl. For those that don't see me, I have a Tampa Bay hat on, Tampa Bay jersey, hat and jersey, getting ready for the big Super Bowl game between my Tampa Bay Bucks and the Kansas City Chiefs. And then finally, we'll talk about WandaVision, episode 5, the check-in. So, anything else going on with you, Ben, this week?
Nothing much, man. I am up here cheering for team nobody because I fell off the football scene, but we got stuff to talk about.
Well, yeah, I know you used to be an Aints fan, right? Aints, that was your team at one time.
Gotta be, man. I was born in New Orleans, so I got the brown paper bag and everything to put over my head when the games are on.
Yeah, well, you might have to go back to that. I think Breeze might be retiring, so we'll
Oh,
get to
the
that.
ain'ts.
the Aints. Hey, well, look, Tampa Bay was terrible too, man. We had some bad years, so it's just good to have a winning team. That's a great thing. That's all.
It feels good, yeah.
Well, how's it? How was your week though? What else did you get into this week?
Oh man, this week I am 2021, man. I'm really getting this new workflow down. 2020 kind of changed everything, so you have to stop, readjust, realign yourself, and I had to get my energy right, man. I wasn't. There were a lot of times last year I just wasn't feeling good. Like spiritually, just my energy was off. So I really had to get that nailed down. And I think this year with my resolutions, my thoughts about the year, and I'm a big resolutions guy. So yeah, I'm getting all that together and it's working out well, man.
No, good man. No, I love to hear it, man. I can't wait to see some new art coming out from 8-bit Cubits. So definitely, let the people know. Give the people what they want. That's what you need to do, man. Give them what they want. That's what they want. New art. And on my side, I have, my business is growing. We're just doing a lot of movement. Signed on some new partners up in New Jersey. So that's going to really hopefully accelerate business. But pretty excited. We got some bringing on some new people to the company in the healthcare space. And so definitely excited about where business is going. Looking at the huge opportunities. Obviously, our goals are to kind of continue to grow. But just like, I think, this is an interesting transition, but I think, where we're growing, our businesses and trying to figure out ways to be productive, we're seeing, this being Black History Month, there's a huge opportunity around new movies that are coming out or who have come out and looking at these genre movies and, what do they mean to Black culture, right? And, are they expanding? Are they contracting? And so I think, today the debate topic is more along the lines of, are we seeing, Black genre movies and TV shows, are we seeing them expanding or are we seeing contraction when we look at our social media or we look at our TV landscape and movie landscape? What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting, man. You have these movements, right? Like Black Lives Matter. You have um, just this whole swell of representation, a lot of talks of intersectionality. There was the Me Too thing. And, that's a byproduct of communication. So we're getting all these communication lines. So now we're connecting with people in different ways. And you start to realize that, hey, maybe there's more I can learn. Maybe there's, more connections I can make with my own history. So this year for Black History Month, it's like, um, I'm talking to people and they're feeling better about the actual just discussion of it. It's not like I put up some MLK memes and go about my business. I was actually in a discussion with the guy. He starts saying, "Yeah, I used to actually be a history major before I switched over to engineering, and we talked about this and that." He just started letting out all this information, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm just these are conversations that I found it more difficult to have before, but now, so much of it's out there. I think for as frustrating as some of the conversations can be, there's a lot more openness that we can have in conversations like, hey, did you hear about this guy? And then you can gauge whether or not you want to go into it or not. But I couldn't have had many of these conversations before, and I really didn't think about that until this year.
No, it's impactful. I mean, I think also it's maybe a generational thing. I think, obviously we may be a little bit older than some of the younger cats out there and the younger generation. I think they're open to more openness and, speaking their mind about some of these cultural, touchstones. And obviously representation matters, but also, actual results matter too, right? And I think they're
Tangibles.
open to yeah, tangibles, checks, checks, money, investments, things like that. And so I think they're more open to having these kind of conversations. And so hopefully, Black history doesn't just become symbolic, but it actually means something, right? Where we're going to see some, movement in a lot of different areas that we've been looking for a long time. And so we kind of look at, our culture, right? And especially in genre when we talk about pop culture and just things that we like to talk about. I mean, I think, my opinion is cyclical. I don't think, sometimes we see things where it's just accelerating and, there's huge opportunities for, Black and brown individuals to be represented on TV and movies. But then it goes away for a while and then it comes back. And I do feel like, we're just in a cycle where it's hot right now. And so obviously we're probably going to see more genre movies out there that represent, the Black perspective. But, I question if this is, something that, is sustainable. I mean, obviously, I think we want to talk about the touchstone was obviously the Black Panther movie, right? Came out, with Disney Plus back in, man, I always get this wrong. Is it 2018? I think it was 2018, right? When it came out. And I think that that was something that really kind of opened the eyes to see what's possible with this, because it was a Black-centered storytelling. It was obviously a majority Black cast. You had to tell it from that perspective, and it just made $1 billion. And so, I think now we're seeing hopefully some proliferation of more of this content. And I'm with it. I mean, we could talk about some of the content that recently came out, but I mean, I think this is a good thing, but I don't know if it's sustainable. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, that's the kicker, right? The I don't want to say the problem with, but something to watch out for with the representation is getting, representation without, control, without, having your own. If Disney is the only institution that's, controlling your representation, then you've got a problem. That's why I'm glad to see guys like Tyler Perry out there doing their thing, regardless of what you think about, his content or whatever. He's out there doing his thing and making sound stages with, great, Black personas as the names of the sound stages. I mean, just as an example, Nipsey Hussle, definitely in Black African spirit that, is no longer with us, but was about doing his own thing. So, and you have varying degrees of independence versus working with quote unquote the system. So is it sustainable? It's only sustainable if we really take control of enough of it and we start driving a lot of these productions and discussions.
No, that's very insightful. I mean, I noticed too, anime has, obviously made a big comeback. I mean, it's always been around, but it seems like it's really been embraced by, the younger generation. And so I'm always on Instagram and I see, we want more anime and they're, referencing animations and different type of, genres and in that space. I'm just curious, are we going to see, explosion there as well, or are we going to see more, black animes, coming out? Obviously, I always think about Boondocks, right? I mean, it was made by the same folks that made anime, but it was like, from a black perspective. If anyone's ever read the comic strip Boondocks, basically, think of the most radical, little black boys you've ever heard of. Very, very foul mouth little boys from a black perspective. And to be honest with you, that was some of the funniest shit I ever heard in my life, right? Those TV show back in the day. And I think, we need to see more of that, but not just, from a black perspective with, the animation that represents anime, but actually anime stories, right, with black characters, right? And I think that goes along with that, right? I mean, I have seen a rise in that. I mean, it's amazing how many Instagram posts are out there around anime. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And that I think a lot of that goes back to early America. Black people, Black Americans in particular, would really attach themselves to a lot of what was going on in the underground cartoon scene, the underground comic scene, and a lot of that was coming from Japan. So, I don't have the full, history on how exactly that all played together. But even as a kid, I remember that stuff. And then Thundercats and Akira, all these shows came out as a kid, and it bubbled through the black community quickly, which was really bizarre. But you know, fast forward, now we have Boondocks and Black Sands Entertainment and stuff like that.
I mean, obviously, Dragon Ball Z is just a big, influencer for just a lot of this generation, and so, obviously, I think I read somewhere about like, is Piccolo black? It's like,
I
the way he acts.
I love that about every cartoon. We're like, all right, now who's the black guy? Is it Panther or Panther? Okay, Panther's the black guy. Jazz from Transformers.
It's like
Sometimes,
we got to bolt on the black culture into like genre. Somebody's in there is black. We know, but but can we have a genuine black story that's driven by black characters, right? So that's gonna be interesting. But so no, get what in this conversation. I think there's some good, interesting movies that came out on Netflix that are genre based. There's one that's called See You Yesterday. Pretty interesting premise about it's basically about two teenagers who actually build a time machine and attempt to alter the events of the past and save one of their brothers, and from being shot by the NYPD. And so it's definitely taking the BLM and everything that's happened in the last couple of years, and taking it, put a genre around it. And it was I thought it was an interesting movie, very, very interesting concept, produced by Spike Lee. Actually, one of our favorite, character actors or actors of his day, Michael J. Fox has an appearance in it. So, very, very, very interesting movie. Obviously, could be a little heavy, but it's definitely a genre movie. So it's about time travel and what the ramifications of that, but taken from a social, context. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Another good one that came out, several years ago, and this is on Disney Plus, Hidden Figures, which is, is basically an autobiography. It's really a true story, but it's kind of genre because it's talking about the space race and the attempt by NASA to put a man on the moon. And basically it tells a story of Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson, three African American women at NASA who helped turn the space race in the country's favor. And Katherine Johnson, I think she was up for a Medal of Honor by President Obama, and I think she's still alive. I gotta check that. I'm not sure, but she's been really been honored, and just one of these history folks that we never knew about, right? But she was instrumental in back in the day. People had to use they didn't have computers like we did before, so computers actually came from the human term, which I never knew before, right? Till I watched that movie, and these were actual people who did all the hard calculations because they didn't have computers to do that for them. So
yeah.
they actually called them computers, people who compute. And so she was a mathematician, brilliant, and had to do all the calculations to make sure that people got into space safely and back. And so, very great movie. I don't know if you have any opinions on any of those movies, but I thought those were both great.
No, no. I just really was happy that Hidden Figures came out. That story was bubbling around for a while, and it's one of those you weren't sure was actually going to be a thing or not. Um, so when it came out, was really happy about that. 'Cause, Yeah, black women will show up and surprise you with some stuff, man. Like I had a cousin. She was all telling me about what I needed to do with my carburetor and stuff in my car, and I was like, "What? I didn't know you were into, you know, auto repair or whatever." So, uh, props. You just don't see it coming a lot of times. So, but it's there if you ask about it and you look around. So, props to the black women for that. Um, and I still don't know how I feel about them throwing in that the extra white guy in there in Hidden Figures, but I'm good with it. You know what I'm
Well,
talking about,
yeah, I
right?
think I don't. What are you referencing?
No, there's a white character in there that
Oh,
kind
played
of
by Kevin Costner. Played by
yeah
Kevin
he,
Costner.
he
Okay,
bridges he
yeah,
bridges a lot of the
yeah,
interactions and discussions, and it's like it kind of can leave you with a little feeling of, hey, if he wasn't there, these black women couldn't
hmm,
get anywhere, but he
yeah,
wasn't there in the original story, so
yeah,
in the historical you know literature, he's not there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, once again, Hollywood taking liberties, right, with the stories and telling them their way. So it is what it is. But very inspirational story, obviously. And I thought it was. I think there's an article I read somewhere that relative to their population size, there are more geniuses in the black women demographic. So if you take their relative size compared to like white men, right? There are just going to be more percentages of geniuses in the black women population. So that's just something interesting. I thought was like, wow. So they just higher intelligence coming from black women, and that's across other cohorts. Black men, white women. It's kind of interesting. So something that I read somewhere. I got I'll find that study and maybe post it. But I thought that was kind of interesting when you said black women surprise you and say, hey, let me show you how this carburetor works, right? So you never know what you get. So and then I think the other thing we want to talk about is Watchmen, right? I mean, that was something that came out recently and it's on HBO Max right now. And that was one of those that just shocked the world, man. I mean, it was kind of weird. It's like it came out, it was still good. I mean, everybody. I mean, I watched it, I enjoyed it, but it just became more important right after the George Floyd deaths and Breonna Taylor, and it seemed like everybody was like watching it and like, oh wow, this is amazing. Now this is like the
Yeah.
best thing I ever seen in my life. And I was like, dude, it was already good, But I mean, so when I saw it, I was like, man, this is amazing. And what they were doing was, I mean, let's take it back. So Damon Lindelof, who created Lost, right? I mean, this guy is always doing high wire acts when it comes to storytelling. If you watch Lost back in the day, it was very high wire act. Very interesting, but may have let a lot of people down with the end story. So he decided to do kind of a, what they call it. It's like a sequel, right? To Watchmen, which is something that's beloved in comic book lore, but is also one of those, when the movie came out, it wasn't as beloved. So and then it was kind of one of those that no one really, I don't know, gelled with, or liked. Would you say?
Well, you know how they have the memes, who asked for this, and then just nothing behind it, and then HBO Watchmen.
And then, yeah, so he says he's gonna make a sequel to Watchmen #1, which is okay, sure, but then he's gonna tell it from black women's perspective, and that just like, okay, dude, you are out there, man. If this that could have went wrong in so many different ways, and it's a miracle that it did not. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was. I think that show allowed them to. I mean, the fact that it was Watchmen allowed the people to create that show in a really interesting way, um, because you couldn't just make a straight up sequel. Uh, knowing how Watchmen is structured, and it's very heavily based in the actual medium that it's being presented in. Um, that's why you got Zack Snyder doing the Hollywood type of thing, which is even referenced in the Watchmen series on HBO. And the series on HBO it came with a podcast and a lot of little internet sites you could go to and read the documents that they're reading in the show. It was very very interesting how they played it, but no, it was totally something that nobody really wanted, nobody expected, and then when they heard about what it was, it's like, wait, why are we doing a black woman? Why is this a thing? It just kind of popped a few brain cells, and people were totally not ready for what it was, which was good.
Mm. Well, yeah, and it made sense. I mean, everything made sense to how they set it up. I mean, we're not gonna go, spoiler territory with it, but I mean, everything about it was, relevant, timely, but also good storytelling. I mean, the way they set up the characters and they kind of, it was a kind of like a continuation of some of the things that they started in the original comic book. And it was basically, what would happen to these people, right? Who, basically saved the world, right? In the original comic book, what becomes of them, right? Do they disappear? No, they live their lives, but they evolve and change in certain ways, and they learn from their past mistakes, right? And so, or still traumatized, right? In some characters' cases, right, from what happened previously. And so, I thought that was like, wow, that was deep. I mean, and I felt like some characters did get somewhat shortchanged. What's the guy's name? They call him Mirror Man. I think he was played by Tim Blake
Yeah.
Nelson, but he was. I thought there was something interesting about his character arc, right? About someone who was embracing being a hero, but he was suffering from trauma, right? Because he experienced what happened in the comic books, right? When everybody got devastated by attack from aliens, quote unquote. So I think that was one of the things I thought. And then Lori, her character, I thought that was interesting. How she dealt with being a superhero and kind of left everything behind, but never really got over her ex. So there's a lot of stuff in there, man. And then of course the whole hooded justice thing. I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, the way they kind of
Right,
introduced
right.
that, I was just like, this is amazing. I mean, because why not? I mean, I don't know. Do you want to get into spoilers too much? I mean, I guess it's
No,
been
no,
out
I
for a
don't. I
while.
don't. I don't actually want to get into spoilers in this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people haven't really peeped it like that.
Okay.
But I like that. And even though you mentioned Hooded Justice, it's like that. This show can still exist on its own without heavy reliance on the comic, the other movie. It's just really really interesting that way. So I didn't think about that until now, but this is one of those self-reliant ones.
hmm You're right. It can work on if you know the backstory, but it's also by itself. I mean, when you watched it, I mean, I literally watched an episode, watched it with my wife, and she was just amazed by it. She's not really a comic book fan, and so I think that tells you all you need to do. And it got all the awards, won everything, for I think it was miniseries and all that. So I thought that was kind of relevant. So yeah, so those are the three that we kind of recommend. Were there anything else that you wanted to bring up on those?
Really quick on that Watchmen though. I found it exciting and interesting and exciting that they introduced people to a lot of Black history, and people were so into the show they were like, "Wait a minute, is that actually Black history?" And then they had to go look it up, and they found out that it was.
hmm
So this isn't a spoiler because, like, in the first 4 minutes, they're gonna just set it up. But you have Bass Reeves. Uh, he's portrayed that's actually a real character in life. And the Tulsa massacre that happened, that was actually a real event. I was I wouldn't say amazed, but I was just watching people like, yeah, Tulsa massacre. Oh, that would have been crazy if that actually happened. And then you'd see the comments underneath that person's post, like, dude, it actually happened. Here are the links. Da da da. Learn your Black history. Black history forever. February, bitch. It's like,
No, I mean that's yeah, it's sad. I mean, but yeah, very very timely when people don't know that stuff. Another TV show we didn't talk about was Lovecraft Country. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that, but
haven't
very
started on it.
similar. Yeah, very interesting. Very genre based. I mean, literally every episode is a different genre. I think I liked it. I think it definitely took some wild swings though, but there were some episodes that were like phenomenal. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, I think like I said, there's a plethora of black genre out there now that we all can get enmeshed in. So it's definitely a gold mine, for black representation in these stories. And so we just hope, I hope at least that we'll see more of that, right, as we move forward. So.
Yeah, if you have any, if anybody listening has any favorites or underground underground shows or something that we might not have picked up on in the mainstream, make sure you let us know, in the comments, the contacts with email or anything, because there's so much out there, but it's not really getting a lot of play. So, we don't see a lot of it. We see it a lot, but we don't see a lot. So make sure you just let us know.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. So, moving on, with when you look at genre storytelling. I mean, the ultimate genre of sports. I mean, and this year we have the Super Bowl that's coming, that's here today, as we film, as we record this. Where the Super Bowl is on between the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Kansas City Chiefs. Probably the angle we want to take on this one is, obviously sports is definitely, great avenue of entertainment, and obviously with COVID it went away and now it's come back and everybody's excited about it. But I think, with the Super Bowl, that's kind of like the last big kind of live event that people go to the TV to watch, things. And so how is that changing, advertising of movies when movies are not coming out anymore? It's all on streaming. How does that change, advertising around, just in general when it comes to like, big genre events? So one of the things I put up here was that it's like the last bastion of traditional advertising, right? Because most advertising is pretty much shifting over into digital media, like Facebook ads. I'm sure most of the audience probably listens to more Facebook ads, YouTube things than they do probably traditional TVs. And then I looked at the numbers too. So typically the average cost of a TV advertising time, I think is about a minute spot, is roughly about $5.5 million, and so that was the average cost this year, 5.5 million. That's actually down from 2020, but not by much. It was only 5.6 last year. But the interesting thing was, ever since since the numbers I have here, since 2018, it was started at 5.2, 2019 5.3 million. 2020 5.6, and here in 2021 5.5 million. It's been going up steadily into this year. So I'm just wondering, are we going to see more? Are we going to see more traditional advertising on Super Bowl and other kind of commercials around TV and movies?
So that's a good question. What I want to know is, since so much stuff is going to the the social streams and the easy markets. I say easy just in terms that I can go put something out there in the internet without really paying much for it. I'm guessing this is a removal of the middleman, the middle class, I guess, if you will, of advertising, where all of the power starts to concentrate in the big players' hands, like these huge events like WrestleMania, the Super Bowl, all these other huge outlets. And then if you're just like some average show on ABC on Tuesday night, I don't assume their advertising is going up. I don't know. Do you have a perspective on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, think about digital ads. I mean, the thing about people love about them, that can be targeted, right? I mean, it's very specific demographic information that you can understand, and you can really, exactly what, your audience numbers are when you try to advertise on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, with Google, because they can get very specific, sometimes too specific when it comes to Google knowing too much about you, right? And where you can go. There's actually a site you can go to, I think, that tells you everything that Google knows about you. So if I find it, I'll post it in IG and all our posts. But you can go to the site, you can find out everything that Google knows about you, right? So that you could delete it or change it around. But with that being said, so that's, I mean, if you're selling a product, or I mean, we're both in business. If you sell a product or something, the more you know about your audience, then the better it is to kind of sell them exactly what they want. Whereas advertising, the old model of advertising was just a broadcast, right? You just spray it and pray it, right? You spend it, put as much money out there to as many people as possible. Now, they did have some targeting, because think about it. If they're going to have a show like in Living Color, right, back in the 90s, and you advertise on that, then guarantee you're going to have a majority black audience, right? Versus Friends, right? You have a different audience. So if you advertise on those different shows, you have some kind of targeting, but not to the level that they have now when it comes to when it comes to like, knowing, not just your demographics, but your psychographics, right?
Yeah.
What are your tendencies? So
Every
I think that's where you're gonna see the movement toward.
yeah, no, you just got me laughing with the you know what to expect when you turn on like In Living Color or something. I just remember back in the day, everybody who watched BET in the afternoons knew about AC Limousine from Rap City. Like at the end of Rap City or at the end of a music show, you'd see just this static picture of a limousine and a phone number. It's like AC Limousine, and I'm like, who the hell are these people? And it was such a New York thing. Like if black people needed to get around in New York, they call AC Limousine. They never changed the picture, never changed the phone number, the font, or anything. That thing was up there for years, and it just hit that same audience. And when it's working, you don't change it. So props.
Oh yeah, nah, they had it right. I just think about like whenever you watched a black movie or something or a TV show, you always went to Black Donald's, right? The black version of McDonald's. It was like everybody that worked there was black. Everybody that went into
Yeah.
to eat was black. It was like, where's this fantasy world, right? Where it just hey, Miss Johnson and Kevin, did you get a new job at McDonald's? I did. I'm gonna work my. It was a what was that? There was a commercial by Kevin, right? The kid
Calvin,
that, Calvin, the kid that got a job at McDonald's. Man, he was happy. I mean, ain't no wrong with that, but it was just funny. It was just like it was a whole a multiverse, if you will, right, of what was going on in in the different genres. But advertising is like that. I mean, it's only as relevant as the impact it has on moving your revenue numbers, right? And so if you can have exact targeting of your audience and get a better feedback, then of course that's going to be more valuable. And so that's why we've seen Facebook ads have increased over time. I can remember when Facebook ads were penny on the dollar. I can remember when Google ads were pennies on the dollar, right? And now you try to do a keyword or something for something you're trying to sell, it can be expensive, couple of dollars, which can add up quickly when you have people who click it and don't really buy, right? So it's definitely something you got to think about when you try to advertise. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be broke.
Exactly. I mean, well, you see what's happening. I mean, we talked about this, right? All these different channels now. When we got these TikTok guys.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of folks are trying to advertise. Have you been on TikTok recently? Have you seen some of the stuff folks are doing out there on TikTok?
Wait, in what respect? I mean,
well, just like you see a lot of like business folks out there like telling you how to get your tax on, and they have like this, they're playing like some Drake in the background, and they're pointing little fingers at these little like, go get your taxes done. It's 2020. It's just like, dude. I mean, and they're trying to do like a dance move while they're showing you all all the things you need to do for your taxes. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Hang around while it's fun, man, and then hopefully it doesn't turn sour, and people are just like, it's weird now. Everybody's selling something, advertising something, so it's just really bizarre now.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But like I said, we'll see what the Super Bowl ads are. I think some of the any exciting movies that you want to see trailers for that they're probably gonna release for.
Yeah, I'm not really peeping the. I know Disney Plus is supposedly supposed to do a spot or two. So maybe we'll see something that sheds a little light on what they've got coming down the pipeline. But that's the only thing I'm actually looking out for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. I mean, obviously after this, we put this out here. I mean, people already know, but I think they're probably gonna maybe have more on Space Jam. That'd be interesting. LeBron James movie. So,
right.
HBO Max. So that'd be kind of cool to see. But yeah, I mean, maybe some Matrix stuff. That'd be kind of cool. Matrix 4. That's supposed to be out this year sometime. And I think they already released the Godzilla versus King Kong trailer, right? So I think one of our buddies, I think he lost his mind when he saw that trailer.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I hate it when somebody said on Twitter. I was thinking one of the guys we listened to. He said, "I hate it when they put the people in there to make it interesting. I don't want to see the damn people."
Dude, I hate it. Yeah, they get in the way. Like Spike from Transformers, get him out of there.
Spike.
Spike Whittaky, yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, anyway, good luck to the two teams, especially the Tampa Bay Bucks. So we'll know when this releases who won. But with that being said, we talked a little bit about the multiverse and different, McDonald's depending on TV shows. So let's talk a little bit about WandaVision, right? And how reality is changing and, really, moving into different directions.
Wait, was that a meta joke there? Reality's changing.
Yeah, reality is changing.
Look
right?
at you with the meta jokes. Got me.
Hey man. I'm trying to work on these transitions, buddy. I'm trying to work on these transitions.
No, I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, wait a minute, what did he mean by that? He meant both.
WandaVision. So episode 5 has come out. So before we get into it real quick, so it's kind of interesting. I know I came in, pretty down this series, and overall I'm still kind of a hater right now, but damn Disney. I mean, it's just they just keep figuring out how to keep you engaged, man. I thought they lost a step, man, but I don't know, man. Looks like they getting that 2-step back, man. They look like they figuring this out because that last episode was interesting.
So, if you've been on the internet, you've seen a spoiler for this. If you haven't seen episode 5 yet, or haven't seen WandaVision yet, it's damn near impossible for you to be on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram without this getting spoiled. I won't do a full spoiler here, but I'll basically say they introduced the idea of Fox characters. Whether that means those exact actors or the X-Men properties, they broke the wall that might have been up before. So now it's like, and by the way, WandaVision, I don't think it should have taken them 5 episodes to get here, but I get what they were going for. So first 4, 5th, thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, like you said, they really took it there, and they did a pretty big bomb drop. I don't know. You tell me what's up. What Feige's doing with this, because this Fox introduction changed everything.
Yeah. So you and I text, when it came out. So basically, I stayed off the internet until I could watch it, and so then finally, I watched it, and yeah, I was shocked like everyone else. I mean, with this introduction, opening this door. So we all thought, Feige was going to introduce them in a movie, standalone movie, or do something with movies with it. But it looks like he's introducing them through the back door, which is TV shows, and maybe that's why he wanted to get this out there first, right? To kind of start that laying that track, right? Being proactive, and the way they structure it too. But I think it's still some problems here, because now all of a sudden Wanda is now this all supreme power being, right? They can change reality, and that wasn't really defined ever. But they're gonna, I guess they're gonna hand wave it a little bit, right? And so it's gonna be interesting, because it looks like she can do some interesting things. And so now, and it goes back to what we talked about. I think she is the new Iron Man, right? Through her, they're going to introduce a lot of different aspects of the Marvel Universe that they never introduced before, right? And so, because, hand wave, she can change reality, right? So, hey, you sprinkle some reality hex juice on it, right? And so it's kind of like, sure, it's kind of like one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, in writers' rooms, they don't like to get held back by what came before,
Rules, logic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why can't Batman be Indonesian? It's like, we're trying to
or
make
black.
Yes.
Black Batman Week.
Black Batman Week.
Batman Week
Continues for the 9th day.
Black Batman Watch 2021.
Yeah. So yeah, writers always get frustrated that they can't do what they creatively want to do. And this actually plays a lot into the business mindset. This is a perfect marriage where the business guys are assuming that, well, hey, we can inject new life into it. We can get some new stories, some new characters. Actually get a lot more people interested, and bring in new demographics of people who may not have been interested, because really, there are a lot of people that still out there that aren't interested in, Thor, Hawkeye. They're just not interested in that group of characters. suddenly you start bringing in stuff from the Fox properties, namely, the X-Men and whoever else is under that banner that anybody cares about.
Deadpool, but
New
but still
Mutants,
X-Men.
Oh yeah, 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 Deadpool. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's a big move creatively where it's like, hey, we can come in and change the situation however we need to. Uh, go ham in the writers' room. We got your back. So minds are blowing all over the place. And this is one of the rare situations where the creative side and the business side are probably looking at each other and nodding their heads, going, "Yeah, yeah, I'm good with this."
Yeah. Yeah, slapping backs and shaking hands. Well done, well done. Smoking cigars, right,
Yeah,
in the back room.
those guys at DC are gonna pay.
All they got is a Snyder cut, man. We did it, we did it. So, well, and it's very meta too. I mean, even how they've introduced this concept. I mean, even they have the characters in the TV show commenting that this is happening, right? In so many words, right? It's like wow.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a flex on top of a flex, right? It's like, look, not only are we gonna make this work, but we're also gonna talk about it too. Like, yeah, we did it. What you gonna do?
Yeah. And as I said, you don't even have to like the show. It may be boring to you, but watching it, you can't help but think that, well, gee, this is really interesting. I wonder what this means 5 years from now. Um, and they just started announcing the Wakanda series is in production
Yeah.
too. So uh, this stuff all connects, man. It's crazy. It's wild. You need to get in on the ride because years from now they're going to be like, oh man, I remember when WandaVision came out, and and then this happened after that, and Winter Soldier and Falcon, and oh god, and yeah, it's going to be reminiscent.
Well, I read I saw something on the internet. I'll send it over to you, but a critique of the Mandalorian too. Even though I think we both thought it was pretty fabulous, great, cinematography, storytelling, but they said it was still more of a vehicle for getting new stories out. Right? It's like,
Yeah,
okay, we just want to talk about Boba Fett show, so we just need Boba Fett in here some kind of way. Who cares? Why did he go look for his armor, 20 years ago or 5 years ago, right? Or something like that. But now he's got it. Cool. Now let's go into the story. Or, talking about Shoka, right? Who cares why she was there? It doesn't matter. Now she just introduced her. Now she's going to have her own show. So
yeah,
likewise, I say all that to say, like WandaVision, I do commend them, or at least they're trying to establish some kind of caring about the character, right? Who she is, why she cares, the grief she has, for her husband and the love she has for her kids. So I respect that, but at the same time, don't get it twisted, right? They're trying to inject that sweet IP, right, and trying to get
Oh,
some new stuff out.
oh God, yes. Let's thank you very much. Let's be clear. This is a commercial. They're just setting stuff up and they're gonna roll with it later on. But in terms of like what's happening and what major ramifications, it's pretty much just a dude, I'm showing you this because you're gonna go to school the next day and say, hey, guess what they're gonna do later because of what I saw in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney's already set the precedent for having to pay for theatrical releases. With Mulan. So if they get everybody all hyped up and excited over these streaming shows, but they really don't have anything built up or set up, what if it's like later on down the line, Wanda versus Doctor Strange in some big classic battle. Pay $30 to watch the movie premiere, and it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. So I totally think this is, they're setting up basically commercials for everybody to watch. The Disney, and Feige said the same. Feige said so himself. So everything is basically set up to make these features the
Mm-hmm.
big important thing. So yeah, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, he's not giving up on movies, and so I mean, he think that's the way to kind of keep folks making them events, right? And then, but to make them more of events, you gotta, tell a story that makes sense and keep people invested, and that's what the TV shows are going to do, right? And so now I get it. I mean, from a business standpoint, it's brilliant, and it's just something I think we all can take lessons from, right? To understand how to inject, excitement for characters that you may not care about per se. And then also, someone made a good point. They basically created a $71.3 billion cameo for this TV show, right? So basically, the acquisition of Fox and the acquisition of all these new characters cost them about $71 billion. And so this is something that they figured this is, we're going to take advantage of it, right, for this character. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you're right. It does open up the windows, and it's kind of funny. It's like they chose the way they introduced to this, this new concept. They actually chose something that made sense in the concept of the character, and it was someone from that we liked anyway. So it's kind of interesting how they did it. So Feige, man, bravo, man. I just I would stand up, and give him a high five, because that was brilliant.
Yeah. Apparently, they've got another reveal coming that they say is going to be bigger than the Mandalorian season 2 reveal.
Oh no! Are they gonna do some crappy CGI DA somebody?
I don't know. But yeah, of course that set everybody's minds racing on what that could mean, and so you can cast your bets on what Marvel character or what situation is going to pop off that's just going to blow up the internet.
Yeah, I like
no telling.
Place your bets here. Place your bets here, guys. Yeah, what do you guys think? Yeah, let us know in the comments, or post on Facebook or on Twitter where you see us, because it's gonna be interesting. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's I'm just speechless, because it's definitely marketing. It's a whole nother level, man. I'm trying to keep people interested and invested in characters where let's be honest. I mean, the WandaVision's got a hodgepodge of characters that were like the C and D level, right? And all these other movies, they got a character from Thor, character from Ant-Man in there. They got obviously Captain Marvel, daughter, a character from there. Her daughter's in this, and so they just say let's just throw a bunch of stuff in here and just mix it up together and see what we can do, right? And so brilliant, seriously. So
actually, I am going to spoil this one. I heard from a trusted source that Henry Cavill is going to show up as the Witcher and take on Wanda Maximoff. You heard it here first, folks. It's going to be a Netflix, Disney Plus crossover with The Witcher.
Oh man! Are they going to screw the timeline too? Where basically he's been there for like 20 years before they even showed up, and so I mean, and so now he shows up at the end.
There's going to be a video game tie-in and everything. It's going to be great.
Oh man, The Witcher! I love it. Well, that'd be an ultimate crossover. Netflix and Disney Plus. That's like DC and
the Scarlet Witcher.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Witcher, witch hunter, and she's a Scarlet Witch. He's been searching for her all this time. He finally found her. Oh man, that's funny. No, I love it, man. That's the ultimate crossover. Oh my goodness, my mind is blown about that. I love it.
Yeah, man, you can trust my source.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw just random things out here, man. I might have a source next week. We'll see. But well, with that being said, I don't have too much else, man. I think this was a great episode. I think we covered everything. What are you excited for next week?
Well, we got Valentine's Day is coming up, so some love is probably in the air. Some stuff's going to be going on down. People, maybe doing some vaccine loving. I don't know. It's going to be crazy this year.
Yeah. Second doses are out, so I think people are starting to get out. But I don't know. As someone who lives in a place that's where the Super Bowl is happening, I don't think most people care in the younger generation, unfortunately. So hopefully this doesn't become a super spreader event. But anyway, no. This for me this week, just more work, opportunities, but looking forward to Obviously, I always say this every week, but go check out, the Snowpiercer and some other, genre movies I might try to catch up on while I'm having time to rest. Obviously, WandaVision is definitely something that I think is now on the must watch. So, kind of going to watch that Friday. I'm going to hate watch it still. I'm going to hate watch it, but I'm going to watch it. So,
Yeah.
definitely something to be excited about. But
I started on Snowpiercer, by the way, so we can talk about that when I finish it up.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna talk about it. I love it. All right, man. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for your time today. We had a great time talking to you once again. This is Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture from two very different perspectives. I hope you enjoyed it. Please listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Ben, have a great one.
I will, sir. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Show versus Business, your weekly take on pop culture. Please subscribe to this podcast at Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please like and subscribe to our Instagram page, Show versus Business, to get exclusive behind-the-scenes takes and upcoming episodes. Talk to you next time.
Finish him!